let's take a branch off from the male serial killers and move into our ladies of the dark, or day. So I've been doing some more research and came across a massive list of female murderers. So does this excite me? No. However, it's interesting because a good percentage of the world like to only accuse men of abuse, sexual assault, rape, murder, etc. So we'll hit the female roll call off with a woman who managed to chop some limbs off of her own family tree, smiling cheerfully while caught. Nannie Doss. Born Nancy Hazel on November 4th, 1906 in Blue Mountain, Alabama, now a part of Anniston. Most people, when they hear the word nanny, tie the word with their own loving grandmother who spoils them constantly, giving them everything they want, hugs, kisses, cookies, milk. However, this granny was much more and far from a peach. Nannie Doss was an American serial killer who was responsible for the deaths of 11 people between the 1920s and 1954. She was often referred to as the Giggling Nanny, the Lonely Hearts Killer, the Black Widow, and the Lady Bluebeard. Nanny was called a self-made widow by a newspaper. So let's get to her early life. Nanny was one of 5 children. She had 1 brother and 3 sisters. Her and her mother both hated James F. Hazel, the controlling father and husband. He would force his children to work on the family farm instead of attending school, thus leading to poor academic performance. At age 7, while her family was taking a train to see relatives, Nanny hit her head on a metal bar on the seat in front of her while the train suddenly stopped. She spent several years suffering from headaches, blackouts, and depression. They blamed this incident for her mental instability. During childhood, she enjoyed reading romance magazines and dreaming of her own romantic future. One of her favorite parts ended up being the Lonely Hearts column. Sounds like a Craigslist on paper. So, Nancy got married. Okay? But before that, her father forbade the Hazel sisters from wearing makeup and attractive clothing and prevented them from going to dances or other social events. Basically, he just wanted to keep them from being molested by men. And moving back to her first marriage, at 16, she married Charlie Braggs, a co-worker at the linen factory, with her father's approval. They married 4 months of dating. He was the only son of a single mother who insisted on continuing to live with her after they married. It was late that Nanny wrote, "I'm married, as my father wished, in 1921 to a boy I only knowed about 4 or 5 months, who had no family, only a mother who was unwed and who had taken over my life completely when we were married. She never seen anything wrong with what he'd done, but she would take spells. She would not let my own mother stay all night." Charlie's mother took up a lot of his attention and his time and limited Nanny's activities. They had 4 daughters from 1923 to 1927. The stressed-out Nanny started drinking, and her casual smoking habit became a heavy addiction. Both unhappy partners suspected each other correctly, and Braggs often disappeared for days on ends. In 1927, the couple lost their 2 middle girls to a suspected food poisoning. Soon after, Braggs took his first daughter, Melvina, and fled, leaving newborn Florine behind with her mother. Braggs' mother died not much later, and Nanny took a job in a cotton mill to support Florine and herself. He often brought Melvina back in the summer of 1928, accompanied by a divorcee with her own child. Braggs and Nanny soon divorced, with Nanny taking the 2 girls back to her mother's home. So, Braggs always maintained that he left because he was scared of her. Number 2. Still in Anniston, Nanny soothed her illnesses by reading more romance magazines and novels. She also resumed poring over Lonely Hearts column and wrote to men advertising there. A particular advert that interested her was that of Robert Frank Harleston, a 23-year-old factory worker from Jacksonville. He sent her romantic poetry, and she sent him a cake. Oh, how sweet. They finally met, and in 1929 they married. She was 24 and it had been 2 years since Braggs. Robert and Nanny lived together in Jacksonville with Melvina and Florine. Within a few months, she discovered that he was an alcoholic and had a criminal record for assault. Despite this, their marriage lasted 16 years. So let's move on to the grandchildren. Don't worry, the killings will start soon. In 1943, she gave birth to Robert Lee Haynes, and another baby followed 2 years later, but died soon afterward. Exhausted from labor and groggy from ether, Melvina thought she saw her visiting mother stick a hat pin into the new baby's head. When she asked her husband and sister for clarification, they said Nanny had told them that the baby was dead, and they noticed that she was holding a pin. The doctors couldn't give a positive examination. So Samuel was admitted to the hospital with flu-like symptoms. The hospital diagnosed a severe digestive tract infection. He was treated and released on October the 5th. Nanny killed him that evening in her rush to collect 2 life insurance policies that she had taken out on him. This sudden death alerted his doctor, who ordered an autopsy. The autopsy revealed a huge amount of arsenic in his system. Doss was promptly arrested. Finally, confession and conviction. Nannie Doss confessed to killing 4 of her husbands. She also confessed to killing her mother, her sister, her grandson, and her mother-in-law. The state of Oklahoma, however, only centered its case on Samuel Doss. Doss was prosecuted by J. Howard Edmondson, who would later become governor of Oklahoma. She pleaded guilty on May 17, 1955, and was sentenced to life imprisonment. The state did not pursue the death penalty due to her gender. Yep. Doss was never charged with the other deaths and eventually died from leukemia in the hospital ward of Oklahoma in 1965. How crazy is this, hey? This woman destroyed her whole family. Can you imagine? Anyway, this is the first post regarding a lady. Which female serial killer interests you? She could be next on my list. Let me know in the comments below. Give this video a like, subscribe if you're new. Don't forget to check out my contest. There's a link in the description below. And until next time, creep it real, and I'll see you at my next video. Thanks for watching.